Good evening. My name is Tom Dudley. I'm an attorney in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm sitting here on the back porch of my house in Slabtown. I'm sure you're all familiar where that is. Um, so, as I said, I'm an attorney. I practiced with my own firm for the last 20 years. The name of the firm is Kenison, Dudley, and Crawford. I'm the Dudley. Um, and I specialize in, or my practice is solely in the nature of construction disputes. I do only deal with construction law, things related to the construction of buildings, disputes over uh, getting paid, disputes over defective work or correct work, design changes. I represent contractors, general contractors, residential builders, subcontractors, suppliers, engineers, architects, owners, banks, surety companies. I think that's it. Pretty much anything that's involved in the construction industry, I have represented. And the nature of what I do is 100% of it is litigation. So it is disputes. It is not contract reviews. I don't do that. I will, but I don't care for it. I much prefer criticizing other people's work. But so the nature of what I do is I do construction related disputes. I am also a certified mediator. Mediator is someone that has the parties together that are in a dispute and then tries to work with them to arrive at a mutually agreeable resolution. I'm also a certified arbitrator with the American Arbitration Association panel on the construction industry. And so I sit as an arbitrator, which is basically like a private judge that I get hired to resolve. Parties come and argue cases like you were in court, and then I issue rulings, and it's all related to construction. Um, so I'll tell you what led to my current job, and it's kind of a series of um, positive and negative experiences that led me to this. So when I was in high school, my sister, who was 5 years older than me, said I should be a lawyer because I like to argue. So then I took a business law class in high school, and the teacher actually we had like a crime happened on campus that was staged, and I was actually a part of the defense team that we actually went to the courthouse and tried the case in front of a jury that was our fellow students. And I actually won. And I loved the experience of being in trial, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So then I went to the Citadel for undergraduate and was a business major with all intentions of going to law school. And after 2 years of the Citadel, I thought I really didn't want to do more schooling. But then when I got to, I took a couple of business law classes in junior and senior year and realized that this is exactly what I wanted to do. So I took a year off, played Army, and then went to law school at the University of South Carolina. And I thought that I wanted to be an environmental lawyer and work for the government. And then I worked for the Coastal Council one summer and realized I could not work for the government, too slow a pace. So when I got out, I thought, well, then I thought maybe I wanted to do real estate law. That sounded like a fun thing. So I did a law clerk position for a firm in Columbia that did title work and did real estate closings. And I realized that was not for me either. Tedious, boring, and not creative for me. So I was interviewing for jobs in Greenville. This is the only place I wanted to come move and live. And one job was it was banking law was what it was advertised at, and I met with them. And when I interviewed, I realized it was really glorified real estate law. And the other position was in a firm that did litigation, trial work. And over the weekend between those interviews, I saw the movie A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, and I decided I want to do litigation. So I got into that. I started with that firm with no intentions of doing construction law. I just wanted to do litigation and try cases. And worked for a couple of years there. And one of the partners basically came and said, "Hey, you're going to come try this case with me." And it was a construction law case dealing with um, a textile mill in Blacksburg, South Carolina, that had burned and been rebuilt, and some of their equipment that the contractor had installed was defective. And I was hooked. And so basically, since 1994, almost well, now for the last 20 years has been 100% of just construction related disputes. So that's how I got to where I was. I worked for 7 years with that same attorney, and then decided in 2000. I met a friend of mine that did. He was just he was on his own doing construction law, and we went and had lunch one day and said, "Hey, let's start a firm." So we started a firm, the two of us, in 2000, on McBee Avenue in Greenville, and we've been there for 20 years. And our firm now has about 7 lawyers and five or six staff members. Um, what schooling do you need to be a lawyer? You need a 4-year undergraduate degree, and you need to do well in undergraduate, uh, have good grades, and do what they call the law school admissions test, which is like the SAT, but it's for law school. And it's a brain teaser. It's an interesting type of test, but you got to do well in undergraduate, get good grades to kind of make the cut to get into law school. I would recommend. I think law schools now want people to get out and do work, do something else for a while before coming back, so you have some life experience, and so that you take law school seriously after 4 years of college. So it's 4 years of college and 3 years of law school. Um, uh, to get to be to take the bar, which is a 3-day exam to become a lawyer. So that's what you have to do. There's no other way to do it. So you got to go to 4 years of college and 3 years of law school. Um, so my job. So there's two parts of my job. The part that I love is being a lawyer and representing clients and trying cases and negotiating, all of that stuff I love. The other part of what I do, since I am the owner of a small business, is I'm an owner. And so there's the part that I love the most about is just being a lawyer. The part I really don't care for is actually having to manage people and being a businessman. I'd much rather just do the law stuff. And that is primarily what I do. I have a partner that really likes the business side of it, so I let him do that stuff, and I just stick with lawyer. Um, I'll tell you the average days. I'm still going into the office. I mean, fortunate that we're still very busy. My average days now is I'm on the phone a lot more than I used to be, with no face-to-face meetings or site visits or things like that. I'm on the phone a lot, a lot. So primarily, I'll just tell you what today was like. So the first thing I needed to do is I've got a new case that I'm getting up to speed on. So I had to spend some time reviewing documents in preparation for a teleconference tomorrow with an attorney in Florence, South Carolina, who's taken the lead on defending an engineering firm that has been sued by its contractor on a contract on 85 Interstate 85, a very large project, half a billion-dollar project. So lots of money. They're not getting sued for half a billion. They're only getting sued for 16 million. So it's a small dispute. I'm joking. It's a big dispute. So I spent some time this morning reading. I do a lot of reading. I also spent some time doing a lot of writing. I have to write letters, um, basically demand letters, responses to attorneys. So I do a lot of writing, and I actually handwrite. I used to type, and I have digressed over the years, and I mostly handwrite stuff. Um, and so I'm doing that. I'm on the phone a lot, negotiating. I'm on the phone a lot, talking to new clients, setting up meetings, and writing. So a lot of times when I need to just spend a lot of time reading, I come back here and sit on this couch on our back porch at home, and where it's quiet and peaceful, and I do that. So I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of writing. And I do a lot of thinking on my feet and arguing, which is my favorite part of doing that, and just strategizing. There's a lot of strategy into what we do, and so that takes it's a creative brain to do that, and so that's a pretty cool thing to hear some facts, a fact pattern, and be able to distill out the important parts and kind of frame and shape how things to go, and tell people you got a great case or you got a lousy case. So that happens a lot, all in between. So the best part of my job, and if I didn't get to do this, I would do something else, is to go to court, in court or in arbitrations, and present and argue cases. Actually, I refer to it as going to battle, but it's where you go and it's all in, and you got to put up the evidence. You have to examine the witnesses. and present the evidence for a judge or an arbitrator to make a decision. And that is the greatest. That's where I get the most professional gratification. Is trying cases and getting up on my feet and having to think on the fly. And the hardest part of my job, hardest part of my job is actually getting ready for those. So all the time that goes into preparing for those trials, that is the hardest part. I'll tell you what my long-term career goals are. At 54 years age and having done this for 27 years, my career goal is to retire soon and be a professor and teach business law or construction law at the college level. That's what I would like to do. And what advice would I give you in finding a career that they love? Here's my advice. You need to think about what you might like, and then you need to go do it. You may find that it's absolutely the greatest thing. You also may find that it's horrible, and it's better to learn that early after you've tried stuff than to spend a lot of time and a lot of money pursuing a career that you really don't know if you're going to like or not. So think about the things you like, think about the way you're wired, take some personality tests, take some aptitude tests just to see what you're good at. And then if you find something that you enjoy studying, you're going to do well at. And if you enjoy studying, you do well at it, you'll probably do well at it in the real world. In an interview, advice to give students in an interview is uh, first look the people who's interviewing you in the eye, shake their hands, and look them in the eye the whole time, and just be honest and be real about it. Don't use buzzwords. Um, and the biggest thing what you're doing is you're selling yourself, because there's nothing you're going to know that's going to make you a perfect match for any company. What you have to say is that here are the attributes or the traits. I am teachable. I am a good follower, and in following, I can also be a good leader when I have that knowledge. So that's a good thing to do. And I would say the outlook for my profession, I think just like any profession is, there's always room for more dedicated, honest, passionate people in any profession. Maybe not a phone, maybe not a, uh, what's it called? I'm going to delete that out.